The main thing I want you to take away from this is that listening to God is participation, not imagination. And if you feel like as you're praying that you're just talking to the ceiling, then you might actually be performing your prayers instead of coming anticipating that God would actually want to talk with you. I missed that step for a really long time. And how I know I missed it was because I didn't actually wait for God to respond to me. I just prayed and I hoped that he would catch my attention or that I would see evidence of an answered prayer as I went throughout my day. Now, I'm not saying that we always need hours and hours of time to sit before the Lord. That's great if you have the time. But what I'm really talking about here is in the course of a conversation. Just like you talk with a friend or a loved one, you can anticipate that God will communicate with you there in the few minutes that you have together. And that communication can come from his word. It can come from him sparking his spirit, bringing to recollection in your mind and heart the remembrance of something you've read in scripture before. It can be in a sense of peace or an inner knowing. It can be in a sense of his presence there with you. Even if it's not a here's the next step answer, sometimes his answer is simply the awareness that we can have of him bringing comfort or peace or courage to us. You can anticipate that God will talk with you because he tells us in his word that he will. He wants to make himself known. Now, where expectations can get us in trouble is we can put requirements on the Lord. We can put him in this box that says, okay, if God really loves me, he's going to show up in the way that I want him to. That does not work well for us because God is God. We are not. But we can come expecting, God, you are who you are. Your word says you do not change. When we seek you with all our heart, you tell us to call on you and you will answer us and to tell us great and unsearchable things that we could not have known. And so, God, I trust that about you. I trust your good character and your good nature. And so I anticipate that as I practice listening for you, you will help me learn to recognize your voice. Listening is different than guessing. Guessing puts pressure on you. Oh, I hope I get it right. But listening comes from awareness. I met this morning with a friend in a really busy coffee shop, and I didn't want to guess at what she was saying. And so at times when the espresso machine is loud and friends are greeting each other and dishes are clanking around, I needed to lean in. You can picture that, right? I'm leaning in. I'm paying attention. Another key aspect here is to recognize that God's voice doesn't override your humanity. He meets us in our humanness. That's not a problem to him. I used to think it was, though. I used to equate all of my humanity, my humanness, with my sin nature. And that's not the case. Before the fall, Adam and Eve were already human, and God walked with them in the cool of the day. They talked with God back and forth. He meets us in our humanity, knowing that it can be hard for us to recognize his voice, knowing the unique personalities that he gave each one of us. Your personality is an asset to you connecting with God. It's not an obstacle for you to overcome. And I'll put a link here in the show notes to a quiz you can take that actually helps you identify how you connect with God best based on your personality. God uses his word to talk with us. It's not just God's past communication, it's his current communication. And so he will illuminate his word for you. He will bring scripture to mind, and he will bring gentle conviction. Condemnation makes us withdraw from God. It says, oh no, I'm bad. I must pull away. God must not want me here. But conviction is God's loving kindness pursuing us, drawing us to think again and choose differently. He says, hey, in this area, I want to talk with you about it. I want to draw you closer to myself. Come receive a better way. Now, I have never heard God audibly from his own mouth. I have heard him through other people. But the way that I hear him most is in the gentle knowing, the way that he talks to me through his word. And it's something that grows as I continue to trust him. Listening grows with trust, not with technique. It's not something to master. It's something to grow in familiarity with. And this awareness was really helpful to me because I can approach learning how to hear God as a technique to master. And when I pursue it that way, my dependence is on me. I'm relying on me to learn and figure things out and successfully accomplish some kind of system to recognize God's voice. And there are repeatable steps we can take. There are frequent ways that God speaks with us based on our personalities and our experiences with him. He does speak to us most clearly through the word, and that is the case for every person. But even with those familiar guideposts, our approach to hearing God's voice is not about a formula. It's not about a technique, because we're not just approaching some wonderful energy source that provides for us. We are approaching our relational God who offers to walk through daily life with us. We're kind of circling this topic here of how to practically listen to God from a different vantage point, because it's important that we don't fall into these traps of guessing or trying to build technique, which ultimately lead us to performing prayer for God instead of what he actually invites us into, which is participating in conversation with him. And so one quick step you could take today, if you're like, hey, I'm ready, I want to put this in practice, is the next time you open your Bible, ask God to meet you there in it. Ask him to draw your attention to something. Maybe it's a word or a phrase. Maybe it's a person he's interacting with, or it's a way his character is showing up. And then don't let it just end there. View it like a conversation and ask him questions. Ask him to show you what else he wants to tell you about that, or why he highlighted that for you, or how he wants to have you apply that in your day. And if you'd like practice with that, I want to invite you to come join me on another YouTube channel or on your favorite podcast platform. For a few years now, I've been hosting a podcast called Good God Talks, because God is good and he talks with us. And I want to help you grow your habit of having these wonderfully uncommon, but always available conversations with God in everyday life moments. So I'll put links here in the show notes for where you can go and find that podcast. But I encourage you, don't just limit yourself to what you have known about prayer before. Even if prayer is life-giving and flourishing for you, there is more that God offers to you. And also, if you're watching this video right now and you made it all the way to the end, but you're still not sure that you actually want to pray, or maybe in the season that you're in, you feel tired and frustrated, or you feel like maybe you're even avoiding God, I want to encourage you that God invites that kind of honesty. And that's what we're talking about in the very next video.